Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is June 16th. Rafael Devers is a Giant and so much more. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today? I mean, we're coming off a crazy day in baseball yesterday, Sunday, Father's Day. Plenty of baseball action and plenty of baseball news to go over. Of course, the big ones, Devers is a Giant. Ohtani is starting today. So much baseball to be talking about today. So before we get into all of that, let's quickly go over and get over our series recap. Angels and Oilers to lead us off. Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano both go deep in a 2-0 Baltimore win. In Game 2, it's Mike Trout going deep. Luis Rengifo, a 2-homer game, but Cedric Mullins and Gary Sanchez, they go deep to help Baltimore take a 6-5 win. And in the finale, it is Luis Urias, Gary Sanchez with a grand slam, and Jordan Westburg, 3 homers, help Baltimore get the sweep over the Halos. 11-2 your final. Yankees and Red Sox. Aaron Judge homers in the 9th to ruin the complete game shutout for Crochet. That ties the game up. We need extras. Carlos Narvaez wins it with a walk-off single. Boston, a 2-1 victory. They then score 4 unanswered off of Rodon. By the time the Yankees start clicking, it's too little, too late. Boston, a 4-3 win, and then it's Rafael Devers hitting a home run off of Max Fried. 2-0 Red Sox, the final in that one as they sweep the Yankees. How do you like that, Boston fans? Reds and Tigers now. Gleyber Torres, a 2-homer game. Riley Green goes deep, and Javi Baez as well. 4 Tiger home runs helped them win. TJ Friedl and Ellie De La Cruz went deep for the Reds. 11-5 Tigers to your final in that one. Ellie De La Cruz strikes again in Game 2. Tyler Stevenson, he hits a grand slam. Matt McClain goes deep. Spencer Steer goes deep. The Reds hit 4 home runs to an 11-1 victory to even up the series. And then in Game 3, Ellie De La Cruz hits another homer. He's homered in 4 straight games now. The Reds take 2 of 3 from the Tigers, win it 8-4. A's and Royals now. Austin Wins and Luis Urias both go deep. It's a 6-4 win for the A's. In Game 2, it's Max Muncy and Lawrence Butler that go deep for a 4-0 A's win. And then in the final, it's Austin Wins again, and he's joined by Nick Kurtz, who hits the go-ahead home run in the 9th. 3-2 A's the final there as the A's sweep the Royals in this series. Twins and Astros. The Astros score 8 runs in the first 3 innings. Altuve goes deep later on. It's a 10-3 Astros win. In Game 2, Yanyer Diaz hits a 2-run home run. Brooks Lee, a game-tying 2-run home run. And then in the 9th, Cam Smith hits the walk-off single. The Astros win it 3-2. And then in the finale game, Brooks Lee hits another home run. The Astros tie this one up in the 9th, and then back-to-back wins on walk-offs. This one in the 10th, Marcion Dubon, the walk-off single as the Astros get the sweep over the Twins. Back-to-back walk-offs, 2-1 the final in the last game. Guardians and Mariners. Nolan Jones and Steven Kwan go deep for the Guardians, but it's Rowdy Tellez and Jorge Polanco going deep for the Mariners, who outscore the Guardians big time. 7-2 the final in that one. Polanco would come back in Game 2 to win it with a walk-off single. 4-3 the final there. And then on Father's Day, the Sunday, J.P. Crawford, a grand slam, would complete the sweep for the Mariners. 6-0 the final as they get all 3 against the Guardians. White Sox and Rangers now. Josh Smith goes deep in the opener, a 3-1 victory there. In Game 2, Adolis Garcia, how about a walk-off single, wins it for the Rangers. 5-4 in the 11th inning that was. And they look for the sweep, and they would find it on Sunday. Miguel Vargas goes deep, but it's a solo shot, and it's the only run for the White Sox. The Rangers take a 2-1 victory and get the sweep over the White Sox. Rays and Mets now. Jonathan Aranda gets a home run, and then the Rays later on score 6 runs in the sixth inning to come back, capped off with a Danny Jansen go-ahead 2-run home run as the Rays take a 7-5 opener. They come back scoring 5 runs in the 4th in Game 2. Junior Camarano with the home run helps the Rays to an 8-4 victory. He would also go deep on Sunday, and the Rays get the sweep 9-0. They obliterate the Mets, and they take the 3 games over New York. Blue Jays and Phillies. It's Kyle Schwarber who hits his 22nd homer of the year. That was a part of an 8-0 win for Philly. In Game 2, tied at 2, it's Max Kepler with the clutch go-ahead home run in the 8th inning for a 3-2 Phillies win. And then on Sunday, Bohm goes deep. Nick Castellanos, a grand slam as the Phillies get the sweep over the Blue Jays, 11-4 the final in that one. Rockies and Braves now. Michael Harris II, Marcell Ozuna. Both of those Braves go deep for a 12-4 victory. Acuna hitting his 7th home run of the season in Game 2 to a 4-1 Braves win. And the Rockies in Game 3 struck out 15 times to the starter alone. They then proceed to score 6 in the 7th. Ryan McMahon, a home run. The Rockies take over Game 3 to avoid the sweep, 10-1. Your final in that one. The Braves, though, take 2 of 3 from Colorado. Marlins and Nationals. Agustin Ramirez opens this series up with a 2-homer game. James Wood was brilliant for the Nats in a he was 3 for 5 with a home run and an RBI, but the Marlins take the affair 11-9 the final there. Jesus Sanchez goes deep in Game 2 to help the Marlins take a 4-3 win, and in the finale game, it's Dane Myers with a go-ahead home run. That's the difference for the Finns, who take a 3-1 victory as the Marlins sweep the Nationals. How do you like that? Pirates and Cubs now in a 4-game set. PCA and Seiya Suzuki both going deep for the Cubs as they take a 3-2 victory in that one. Game 2 goes into the 10th inning. IKF with a sac fly in the 10th. Of course, Paul Skeens pitched this day. You would not get the win. They hold the Cubs. It's a 2-1 Pirates win. In Game 3, Dansby Swanson goes deep. His home run's the difference in this one. It's 2-1 Cubs victory. And then in the finale, after both teams scored 2 runs in the first inning, the next run was the winning run. It's a walk-off single from Ian Happ to win this game in the 10th inning. So the Cubs take 3 of 4 from the Pirates, the scores being 3-2, 2-1, 2-1, 3-2. A little sandwich there. Cubs take a 3-2 victory on that last day there. Cardinals and Brewers. It's a 4-game series here. Introducing Jacob Misiorowski, the flame-throwing slinger for the Brewers. Now, his MLB debut was electric. He had no hits through 5 innings, but had to leave with an apparent injury. Jackson Chourio hits a home run to end a 5-run 5th, which helps the Brewers to a 6-0 victory. They come back with a 3-2 victory the next day, but the Cardinals stop it there. Nolan Gorman goes deep. Both the brothers, William and Wilson Contreras, homer in the 9th inning, but the Cardinals have the advantage, 8-5 the final there. And in the finale game, Yelich hits his 14th home run of the season. It's a 3-2 Brewers win as Milwaukee collects 3 of 4 from the Cardinals in a big series for them. Padres and D-backs, Josh Naylor, Corbin Carroll, both those Snakes hit home runs. It's a 5-1 victory there. Gavin Sheets homers for the Padres, Suarez homering for the D-backs. Arizona enters the 9th down by 4. They score 5 to win it on a walk-off from Josh Naylor. Fielder's choice, 8-7 the final there. Crazy comeback. It's always with Arizona, man, the craziest games. In the finale game, though, Cronenworth goes deep. Suarez hits another home run, back-to-back days for him, and Elias Diaz homering for the Padres as well. As they take an 8-2 victory, the Padres avoid the sweep, but the Diamondbacks take 2 of 3 from San Diego, helping out the top 2 teams, the Giants and Dodgers. The last series to review here, Adames going deep. Casey Schmidt, a go-ahead grand slam. The Giants win it 6-2. and are tied with the Dodgers for first place in the NL West. How do you like that? San Francisco. Dodgers in game 2 though, come back. Ohtani a leadoff home run. He had a 2-homer game. Teoscar homered in the first game, homers in the second game as well. And Casey Schmidt, back-to-back games with a grand slam. He hit a grand slam game 1, hits a grand slam game 2, but it does not matter. The Dodgers all over it in this one. 11-5 the final there. They take back first place in the West. Giants could tie it with the win here in game 3, but it's Adames who goes deep, and then Andy Pa has a go-ahead 3-run home run. That's the difference in this one. Dodgers take a 5-4 victory. They take 2 of 3 from the Giants and have the NL West lead still, and that's your series recap. Alright, now the game of the weekend, of course, we're going to Arizona as usual. It always seems like Arizona has some of the craziest wins, losses of the season. We're taking you to the top of the second where San Diego gets things started. Gavin Sheets, his 12th home run of the season, puts the Padres up 1-0. Bottom of the fourth, Eugenio Suarez, a 3-run home run, his 20th of the year, gets the Diamondbacks the lead 3-1. That lead would hold until the 7th, where the Padres would strike with 4 runs in the inning. Tatis, an RBI single, 2 RBI single, ties the game up 3-3, and then Manny Machado, a 2-run double, puts the Padres up by 2. It's 5-3. Top of the 9th, it's Brandon Lockridge with an RBI single to put it 6-3, and then Xander Bogaerts, the X-Man, a sac fly. It's a 7-3 lead for the Padres heading to the 9th inning, but don't count chickens before they hatch. Ketel Marte, an RBI single. It's 7-4. Bases loaded for Geraldo Perdomo. He lines one down the gap. Gabby Moreno scores. Thomas scores. Marte scores. It's a bases clearing, game tying triple for Geraldo Perdomo. And then Josh Naylor, a little dribbler to first base. Arias throws home. The slide is not in time. Perdomo scores, and the Diamondbacks score 5 in the 9th to win 8-7. They walk off the Padres in electric fashion. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your game of the week. How about that? How about this? Baseball news time. Let's get into it because we've got a lot to talk about. I still can't believe this. In case you missed yesterday, which for some reason seemed like it was the craziest day of the baseball season, Rafael Devers was traded from the Boston Red Sox to the San Francisco Giants. Yes, you've heard that right. Rafael Devers has been traded to the San Francisco Giants. In exchange, mind you, Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, James Tibbs, the third, I guess, and Jose Bello. That just happened yesterday. I'm still speechless. Wow. I mean, this is wow behavior. The 3-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, and the last piece, I believe, from the 2018 Boston Red Sox World Series championship team is now part of the NL West rivalry, where right now, if we go back, the Red Sox had Devers, Bogaerts, and Betts. Devers is now a Giant, Bogaerts is a Padre, and Betts is a Dodger. So once, teammates for Boston are now the 3-headed dragon monster of the NL West, and they're all division rivals. And I mean, there's just so much to go into here and so much to talk about that I don't even know where to begin. I guess we just kind of run through stats really quickly. I mean, Devers, a 2.3 WAR so far this season, 74 hits, 15 home runs. He's got a 272 batting average, 58 RBIs, a 905 OPS. He's elite. He's a great hitter. Not only that, he's a Yankees killer, and that's a huge thing for Boston in the rivalry. So, I mean, that's just, I just can't comprehend the decision right now. I mean, I can, but you can't, because the guys they're getting back. I mean, it's Jordan Hicks, who, yeah, it's an okay guy, I guess, but his season so far, he's 1-5, a 6.47 ERA. 6.47 ERA. Kyle Harrison, he was sent down to the AAA team for the Red Sox. I mean, he was 1-1, a 4.56. He's still young. Does he got the potential still? Absolutely. And then the two prospects they got back, James Tribbs, first baseman, outfielder, yes, yeah. Jose Bello, right-handed pitcher. He's only 20 years old, so, I mean, you got some time there. I mean, look, at the end of the day, this was not inevitable, but we knew the relationship between Boston and Devers had faded. That's just a clear, oh yeah, that happened 100%. We know because, they told him to play DH at the start of this season. And then all of a sudden was told that they need a first baseman, and he just complained about that. And I mean, if we go back to that, as a first and foremost part, Boston made you their face of their franchise. They gave you a 10-year, $313.5 million contract. And when I say and a half, I mean 500,000, but still, or 500 million, whatever. They gave you that kind of money for 10 years to be the guy, the face of the franchise. And, that comes with responsibility. And that's when, if your young first baseman goes down with an injury and they need you to play, you adapt, you make some mistakes, you learn. It's not your fault if you have a bad day at first base and making errors, because they're asking you to do this. You're not comfortable, but that's the whole point. They're going to coach you. They're going to train you up to get to that point where you can feel comfortable, where you can be a team player. That's the whole point. And they couldn't do that, and he didn't want to do that. And so now he's essentially, the reincarnation of David Ortiz, but at that point, the relationship is sour. But it's still Rafael Devers. It's still a guy. For a guy that you're getting for a 6-point-something ERA, a 4-point-something ERA, yes, it's young kids still. I mean, if I had a nickel for every time the Boston Red Sox sent their face of their franchise to an NL West team in the last 5 years, I would have 2 nickels. Why did it happen twice? Come on. No. You can start sitting here and poking holes about the whole thing and being like, oh, this and that. And look, right now, as of June 16th, this trade's ridiculous. And the whole thing is ridiculous. And Boston's going to get a lot of shade. I mean, you just swept the Yankees, for crying out loud. You're back above 500. You can compete. And it's just gone already. And I mean, right now, if you're a Boston fan, it feels like the end of the world. And I don't blame you. This is worst case scenario. If you're a fan of a different team here, whatever, that's if the Yankees are trading Judge, the Blue Jays are trading Vladdy, Baltimore is trading Adley, which is a trade rumor. That could happen. But it feels bad. But when you look at your books, right, if we go off of that, Boston's got Bregman, who's on $40 million, who, by the way, can opt out, which, mind you, could very much happen at the end of this year, depending on how he plays. I mean, $40 million is a lot to walk away from, but, what does he want? Does he care about winning more? That kind of stuff. You've got Story on the books for $25 million for the next 3 years still, but he's got some options or something. Buehler and Giolito's on the books. You got Masataka Yoshida. There's a lot of money throughout the team. And Devers' contract was huge. And the thing is here, and this is the only thing that will kind of how this will shape up. Because now Devers has to go to San Francisco. Which, by the way, we'll talk about how this impacts San Francisco slightly. But, this is huge for San Francisco. Because they've had this great team and these great players that can supplement a star. They've had these players since 2021, 2022. They've always lacked the star. They were in on Judge, they were in on Ohtani, similar to the Blue Jays, but not as closely linked. They get Willy Adames in free agency, and that's like supposed to be the star player, but like not really. He hasn't been all that this year. You go make this trade. Buster Posey could be GM or chief operator of baseball, whatever you want to call it. He could be that of the year with a move like this. Devers is a star. You immediately slot him in the DH role in your, batting third behind guys like, Jung Ho Lee, Ramos, Adames, whatever. All of a sudden, the lineup changes drastically, and the Giants are in such a good position. Obviously, Devers is not playing third base because Matt Chapman is there, of course, on the IL currently. But, when healthy, you're not going to have Devers out there over Chapman. So, yeah, the conversation right now would be, is Devers just... Did the Giants just go out and get a DH in Rafael Devers for $255+ million for 8 years? Or are the Giants going to be able to talk him into playing first base? Because that's a bit of a hole for the Giants right now. They've got Wilmer Flores and Dominic Smith kind of doing some platooning. They've been more having Dominic Smith play first base and have Wilmer Flores playing DH. But now that you have Devers there, it's like, okay, well, now Wilmer Flores moves back to first base. Dominic Smith not really involved. Do you platoon? Do you have Devers play first base? Is there an option there? That's a conversation that will need to be had. It'd be mad funny if they could convince Devers to play first base when Boston couldn't, which would just be like icing on the cake of like, oh my God. But yeah, this is huge for the Giants. And when you go back to the Boston side of things, now it's the end of the world, and that's the thing. This trade can only get worse, I think. The only way that the Red Sox can salvage this trade and make it seem like it's a good thing is by taking that $255+ million that owed to Devers, and that's to go and lock up Marcelo Mayer, to go and lock up Roman Anthony, these young kids now who are essentially going forward the faces of the franchise for Boston. That's the problem when you trade away your face, though. The negative energy that lacks in that clubhouse now. Who's going to be the voice? Who's going to be the star, essentially? If you go off of the players, Tristan Casas is still not even in arbitration. Of course, they gave Christian Campbell 8 years, $60 million deal. So that's already locked up there. That's already one kid. Go and handle the rest. Go get Mayer. Go get Anthony. Go get, Carlos Narvaez, who's been, doing really well for you guys so far. And Wilyer Abreu and some of those young kids. Because, you gave Crochet a 6-year, $170 million deal. Jarren Duran, he's got arbitration, but he's got, a 2026, the club option for $8 million at least, but you have him on the books at least until 2029. So, there are some players here who, are already supplementing a team here, but already some expensive players. With this young talent now, you open up the hole at DH. You open up, there is a reasoning behind the move. I get it. But at the end of the day, it's still Rafael Devers. It's still the face of that franchise. Sorry, all of a sudden it's okay, Trevor Story, not really the face of the franchise. The young kids, Mayer, Campbell, Anthony, one of them will take over that mantle eventually, but that's going to take at least 2 to 3 years, So I'm looking, Garrett Crochet, they just got. Lucas Giolito has been hurt, never really there. Buehler, okay, sure. Chapman, whatever. There's not a leader, a guy on this team. And if I had to pick one, it's Jarren Duran, which, great player, all-star last year. The season he had last year, some ups and some downs. He's still a young kid at the end of the day. I say young kid, he's 28, but he's only been in the league 2 years. So, he is now the Red Sox face of the franchise. And when I go through just the AL East alone, Brandon Lau, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Adley/Gunnar, Aaron Judge, Jarren Duran. There's a clear lack of a leader in one of these teams here. And I'm interested to see how this season goes for Boston. I think they kind of just threw away this year and potentially next year. It's a move that, gets a lot of heat. And it's going to be like that for a while. And, by the way, in case you didn't realize, the Giants and the Red Sox, they play each other this weekend. Boston's heading to San Francisco to play the Giants. And Devers is going to absolutely pound the baseball. Devers is going to have a huge weekend. This is a big move. Giants have to pay all of the money, which is why if you're wondering about the return, why it's so ass, because the return is ass. Sorry, Hicks, talent, the move to starting pitcher role hasn't really worked out. Kyle Harrison, if he figures it out, his fastball is still electric. If he can figure out the rest of his stuff in the command, he can still be a nice supplement to Crochet and the rest of the rotation there. And then you have two prospects, and the thing about top prospects is you never know if they're going to pan out or not. They traded Betts for what? Verdugo and Jeter Downs, was it? Jeter Downs is where? Not in the majors. That's a bust. And then Verdugo is where? In Atlanta. Come on. What are we doing? So the trade is bummed, but the whole money, all the salary that is owed to Devers is now being taken up by the Giants. So it's a salary dump move with you get some stuff back. I mean, I don't know what the vision was here. Did the relationship sour that much? There's obviously things internal in the organization that happened that affected this, but I mean, just mind-blowing trade of the deadline, and we're not even in July. We're mid-June. Absolutely outstanding. I'm still speechless despite talking about this for how long? 10 minutes? God. Anyways, let's move on to more baseball news that happened yesterday that I think the Dodgers did this just to overshadow the Giants getting Devers, because it's the Dodgers are yeah, we just took 2 of 3. We're still atop the NL West. And then the Giants trade for Devers, and they're oh shit, we're not, our news isn't as important anymore. We got to go do something. And there's guys, hold the presses. Yeah, Devers got traded, but guess what? Shohei Ohtani is starting tomorrow. What are we doing? Oh my God. Shohei Ohtani is back on the mound for the Dodgers for the first time as a Dodger, and the first time he'll be pitching since August 23rd, 2023. That's 633 days ago. It has been a while, but when you look at his numbers as a pitcher when he was with the Angels, he had 15 WAR just as a pitcher alone. A 38-19 win-loss record, a 3.01 ERA, so essentially 3 ERA, 86 starts, 481 and 2/3 innings, giving up 53 home runs with 608 strikeouts. How good is it going to be? How long is it going to be? It's very interesting to see something like this come out, and all of a sudden, we knew it was happening sooner or later, but it's here. Ohtani's back on the mound. I believe it's more of an opener from Ohtani today. I would expect him at most 2 innings of work, depending on how quickly he can get through the Padres' top 3 and get through that first inning there. But yeah, just even if it is just an inning and 8 pitches, whatever, just to say that Ohtani's back on the mound, it's going to be milked by MLB. It's going to be this whole big thing, and it is an important thing, and it is a big story. I'm not trying to lack it and not justify it. It's a big thing, but it is only going to be an inning or 2, and it's going to be something that is going to get 8 stories on Instagram or whatever. But it is very exciting, especially for Dodgers fans, to be able to see Ohtani on the mound for the first time in Dodger blue in an MLB game. It's very exciting stuff, and I'm excited to see it myself. So, yeah, Shohei Ohtani pitching tonight for the Dodgers against the Padres, starting as a bit of an opener. Let's get into the Father's Day sweep, the Father's Day Predictable, because we had a lot of sweeps this weekend, over Father's Day here. Baltimore swept, the Red Sox swept, A's, Astros, Mariners, Rangers, Rays, Phillies, and Marlins. And of course, sweeps are essentially 3-game winning streaks, which means there's 9 teams on at least 3-game winning streaks, meaning that there's at least 9 teams on 3-game losing streaks. So a lot of switching up in the standings. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. But yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw 9 sweeps over a series here. So really cool there. And for Father's Day, I'm sure some players are very happy about, this stuff here and going forward here. Speaking of, streaks, I guess, and sweeps in general, the Nationals are on a currently 8-game losing streak. They have been struggling hard. And in an interview yesterday from Davey Martinez, the Nationals manager, he was asked a question about how much of the losing streak goes on the coaching staff, to which his response was, it's never on the coaching. And this is basically any losing streak in general, not just the Nationals ones that are currently on it. But he talked about how, on heavy losing streaks that teams can face throughout the season, it's never not on the coaching, never not on the managing staff. Talking about how they do enough, how they, go through all the reports, they do all the work before the games here to set up their players for success. And so at the end of the day, it comes down on the players. And I thought this was an interesting take. Not that I don't disagree with him, because I think at the end of the day, it is on the players to perform. The coaching staff aren't going to be the ones to strike out the team and to hit the home runs and all that stuff. But there has to be a level of responsibility that the coaching staff maybe isn't doing enough, or they have to change something, because we see it with teams, how obviously it's a scapegoat, but the Rockies got rid of Bud Black and the Pirates got rid of their manager, and Baltimore on their horrendous start got rid of Brandon Hyde. It's the managers that get looked at and the managers that get let go. So, David Martinez, from getting 4 managers that were already fired in April or May, to have a comment like that, if I'm a player, I'm a little upset. It's okay, yeah, I know it's more on me to get right and to get proper again and to, be hitting and helping out the team any which way I can. But, you'd like to see your coaching staff take a little bit more of we've been working really hard. And, I've seen the effort here. We just need to see a little bit more from some of the guys here. But, that's something that we work on together as a team. It's not just the players. It's not just the coaching staff. It is a collective effort. And I don't know. I found his comments to be a little brash, a little unnecessary. But it was a hard reality, and maybe it resets the Nationals. Maybe they come back with a win in the next game. But I thought I want to mention that really quickly because I found that to be very interesting comments. And the last bit of baseball news to go over really quickly here: Zach Wheeler has announced that at the end of his contract in 2027, he will be retiring from Major League Baseball, which is interesting to announce your retirement a few years ahead of that. Of course, this is subject to change, depending on how feelings go and everything. Zach Wheeler, at the beginning of this year, signed a 3-year, $126 million contract extension with the Phillies, basically being $42 million each year. Wheeler, of course, an elite talent, from going back with the Mets back in 2023, but of course, a lot more success with the Phillies. Since coming over in 2020, in the 5 years he spent with the Phillies, the 6 years, I guess, if you include this year, he's 66-34 with a 2.92 ERA, 147 games started, and over 1,000 strikeouts. He finished second in Cy Young voting last year. He finished second in Cy Young voting in 2021 as well. Those 2 seasons were the 2 seasons he were an All-Star, so 2-time All-Star and the Gold Glover himself. He wants a World Series. He wants a Cy Young, and I think he deserves a Cy Young. Hopefully he can get it this year. He's been pitching fantastic. 14 starts, a 7-2 record, 2.76 ERA, so something to note there. But yeah, at the end of 2027, we will see Zach Wheeler essentially in his last game, in his last year with the Phillies here. So we essentially have 2.5 years of enjoying Zach Wheeler on the mound before that all comes to an end. Again, a little weird to announce it so far ahead, but at the same time, he's going to be, 38? So, yeah, I guess he, ready to be a dad and ready to be, with the family a lot more. So that is Zach Wheeler, and that is, that's the baseball news from the weekend, and a lot of it. So now let's do our hot and colds from the week here. No one was hotter than Ronald Acuna Jr. 12 for 18, a double, 2 home runs, 5 RBI, 6 runs, 3 walks. He didn't strike out once, and a 1.770 OPS for him. Ellie De La Cruz, 10 for 21, a double, 4 home runs. He got 4 straight home runs, looking for a 5th. 7 RBIs, 8 runs, a 1.617 OPS. Brent Rooker, 8 for 18, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, 3 runs, 4 walks, a 1.489 OPS. Evan Carter, 8 for 18, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 7 runs, 4 walks. He also did not strike out once over the week, a 1.434 OPS there. And then Jose Altuve, 9 for 21, 4 doubles, a home run, 6 RBIs, 4 runs, a 1.262 OPS. Looking at the cold side of things now, Ozzie Albies 1 for 20 with 10 strikeouts, not good. Matt Shaw 1 for 18 with 6 Ks. Brian Reynolds 1 for 22 with 7 Ks. Parker Meadows 1 for 19 with 7 Ks. And then Rhys Hoskins 2 for 22 with 9 Ks. Things you prefer not to see from your best players. Moving on here, we have our injury updates now. We've got a couple things here. Jackson Merrill is back on the IL. It's a 7-day one, though, with a concussion protocol there. Royce Lewis, 10-day IL with him, strained hamstring. Kodai Senga, 15-day IL with a strained hamstring. We kind of knew this was bound to happen. Tyler Mahle, 15-day IL with shoulder soreness. And then the D-backs lose a blow. They lose Justin Martinez, relief pitcher, out for the season. He needs Tommy John surgery. Of course, who doesn't need Tommy John surgery these days? And those are the injury updates from the weekend here. As we move on now, we've got our outstanding performances, a nice list of guys here going forward. You've got to start with Jacob Misiorowski, who made his Major League debut, went 5 innings before getting taken out with the apparent injury. No hits, which is just incredible. No earned runs. He did walk 4 and did strike out 5, but still great stuff from him. I'm very excited to follow this guy's career. Ranger Suarez, 7 innings of work, 4 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 6 Ks. Garrett Crochet, 8 1/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 7 Ks. Spencer Strider, 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 13 strikeouts. How do you like that? Hunter Brown, 7 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 12 Ks. Joe Ryan, 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 7 Ks. Very close one another there. You had Hunter Dobbins, 6 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 5 Ks versus the Yankees. And how about the Clayton Kershaw, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 5 Ks. You love to see that. Grant Holmes, 6 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 15 strikeouts. Against the Rockies, he was the losing pitcher, believe it or not. Nick Pivetta, 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 9 Ks. Brian Bello, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, and 8 Ks. Emerson Hancock, 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 4 Ks. Crochet, Dobbins, and Bello, all 3 Red Sox pitchers from the Yankees series. And I still don't think Boston's happy with that. Anyways, now let's take a look at those standings in the AL East. The Yankees on a 3-game losing streak, 42-28. A good chance for teams to take into account. The Rays certainly did. 39-32, the 3-game sweep over the Mets. They're 3.5 back. The Blue Jays also lost 3 this week, got swept by the Phillies. They still are 4.5 back. It would have been a big jump for them. They're 38-33, a game back of the Rays, and 2 games up on the Red Sox, who are 37-36, 1 game over 500 on a 5-game winning streak. We'll see how that starts to happen. They're a half a game out of the wild card there. Rays and Blue Jays currently occupying the 4th and 5th seed there. Baltimore 30-40. AL Central, Tigers 46-27, still 9 games up on the Twins, who are 36-35, 1 game above 500. The Guardians are 35 and 35 at 500. Royals on a 6-game losing streak need to snap out of that. They're 34 and 38. They need to rebound a little bit here. White Sox 23 and 49 at the bottom on a 5-game losing streak. The whole Central actually is on losing streaks. The AL West, the Astros 41 and 30. Their best stretch of games here. They're 8-2 in their last 10 on a 5-game winning streak. 4.5 up on Seattle, who are currently occupying the 3rd wild card spot in the AL. They're 36 and 34. Rangers at 500, 36 and 36 on a 4-game winning streak. The Angels, 33 and 37, have dropped back down to 4th. And the A's, despite a 3-game winning streak, are 29 and 44. In the NL East, the Mets, who just got swept by the Rays, are 45 and 27, while the Phillies, who just swept the Blue Jays, are 42 and 29 on a 4-game winning streak. Mets have a 2.5-game lead over the Phillies. And then you have to jump all the way down to the 31 and 39 Braves, who are 13 games back and are 8 games below 500. They're a game and a half up on the Nats in 4th, who are 30 and 41. Marlins 28 and 41. They're dead last. And the Nationals, of course, 1 and 9 in their last 10. 8-game losing streak. Not fun. The NL Central, the Cubs still holding it down, 44 and 28, 5.5 games up on the Brewers, who are 39 and 34. The Reds and Cardinals are tied. They're both 37 and 35 essentially, so both a game and a half out of the Brewers, 7 games back of the Cubs. And then in your NL West, the Dodgers, who took 2 of 3 from the Giants, have a 2-game lead over the Giants. They're 43 and 29 to the Giants, 41 and 31, but the Giants 7 and 3 in their last 10, and they just got Devers, so who knows there. Padres 39 and 31, and the Diamondbacks, after taking 2 of 3 from the Padres, are a game up on 500. They're 36 and 35, 6.5 back of the Dodgers, 3.5 back of the wild card, which currently sits with the Phillies and the 4 slot, the Giants in the 5 seed, and the Padres in the 6 seed. And that is your standings check, which brings us now to our upcoming series. And there are some good ones here. The Diamondbacks are in Toronto to take on the Blue Jays. Angels in New York taking on the Yankees. The Oilers are in Steinbrenner against the Rays. Pirates at Tigers. Cardinals at White Sox. Royals at Rangers. The Red Sox first series without Devers will be in Seattle against the Mariners, with Logan Gilbert coming off the IL to make a start in this series. Should be a good one there. Astros at A's. Rockies at Nationals. Nationals, if there was any team that was going to end your losing streak, it would be the Rockies. The Phillies are in Miami taking on the Marlins. Mets at Braves could be interesting. Twins at Reds. Brewers at Cubs. This could be a chance for the Brewers to tackle into that NL Central lead. The Padres are back in the rivalry against the Dodgers. Dodgers just played Padres, Giants, and now back to the Padres. So another battle for the Dodgers here to hold off their NL West crown so far. And of course, Ohtani pitching today. And then the Guardians will have to be the first team to take a look at Devers in San Francisco Orange, as they're in San Francisco taking on the Giants for this week. And of course, Boston will then be in San Francisco over the weekend, and that will certainly be a series to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody so much for tuning in to today's episode. I'm hoping this is a big one, some big news, of course, so I appreciate you all if you stuck around this long for it, of course, a little bit longer, but then again, when something like Devers for the Giants happens, it's going to be a long episode, so I appreciate you all. Thank you everybody so much. And I will see you on Friday.